in the mix. Time to turn it up once again. Everything that start gotta end. So don't waste time, get it in. Why wait? Say it tomorrow, but you got today. Put them excuses away. Pick up the pace. If you really want it, then you gotta chase. Hey, I need a whole lot of space. Make some room. I gotta prove that I'm nothing like you. And I'ma do it. If it's in the way, then we going through it. Like a Peloton, gotta keep it moving. Talk is too cheap, you just gotta do it. You ain't gotta like it, cause it's stats approved. Only one way. Gotta bring it straight to their face. Ain't nobody safe. Plus it's only one first place. Know what that means? This ain't a fight, it's a war. We focus on up in the score. If you think you better than battle. If you really with it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better than battle.
Let's get it.
Only first place finishes, so I seek and destroy every one of my nemesis. My power limitless, and my scorecard is perfect, it don't have no blemishes. No apologies, cause I ain't just my nature that makes me a different type of creature. I'm a bitch, bonafide gamer. Before you blame me, better read the disclaimer. I'm that force to be reckoned with. I know your mama didn't warn you, you shouldn't be messing with. You don't compare to me. We're not the same, there's no similarity. Moment of clarity, you should be scared of me. Run all, you'll never get rid of me. So incredibly outdone. If we go to war, I'm the one you can't outrun.
Only one way. Gotta bring it straight to their face. Ain't nobody safe. Plus it's only one first place. Know what that means? This ain't a fight, it's a war. We focus on up in the score. If you think you better than battle. If you really with it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better than battle. Just battle. If you really with it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better, then battle me. When it's time to ball. We back in the field, back. We ready, it's time. It's nothing but hustle inside of the huddle, you know that I grind. A dangerous mind, a weapon of choice when pushing the line. Go overtime and I won't break when it's crunch time. My end game is number one. Bet it all, give me my cash. Supreme game, can't stop it. Take off like a rocket. Break it back, don't bend mine. I'm the one now, you can't hide. Legendary like legacy. This is our moment, our time.
Our time.
This is our moment. This is our time. Time is now. It's time to rise. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise. Yeah. Coming for glory. We ready for war. The city's behind us. We giving you more. We ready whenever. The world is watching. The time is now. No other option. No other way. Play to win the way that we play. Destined for greatness. Born to be great. Ahead of the game. In front of the pack. Leading the way. It's time to reign. The kingdom's here. This is our year. Been to the bottom. Ain't nothing to fear. We running the game. Rushing the field. For every yard. On every play. Nobody's safe. Rise when we fall. But never stay down. The champs is here. Doing it for the 10. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise. Side time. Feet in the dirt. Nose to the grind. Like the crack of dawn. You can't stop the shine. Moment after moment. Day after day. It's side time. Lock and loaded, it's time for war. Ha. Tear down, kick in the door. Yeah, I want it all, give me some more. Ha. I want it all, give me some more. I want it all, give me some more. Yeah. Kill them all, it's time for war. It's time for war. Like pandemonium, I set it off. Yeah. Sacrifice, I bear the cross. Legendary, I'm a big dog. Hard knock on the front line. Pure blood, my bloodline. Headshots the first time. My aim good, bullseye. Warfare. Don't play fair, don't play fair. You not sure? Don't go there, I'm right here. No fear, I'm ready to go at top speed. No brick wall can block me. No army can stop me. Yeah, I want it all and I can't lose. I came far and I won't stop. This my time, I pay dues. Yeah, it's war time and I won't retreat. I want it all, give me some more. I kill them all, won't taste defeat. Nah. Now bow down at the king's feet. It's time for war. I want it all, give me some more. Kill them all, it's time for war. Kill them all, it's time for war. It's time for war.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to round number 3 of the playoffs for the Northwest Racing Series. You're looking at Wesley Outland up top side. Down below is Terry Radford. I think it's the first time we've ever seen what Terry looks like on camera in his man cave in the background. I'm digging it. I'm digging it, Terry.
That's right. Got all the cave behind me. Just called a race from crappy old Texas and figured since the Dallas Cowboys are the worst team in the NFC East, I would put the Philadelphia Eagles thing behind me. Old LaShawn McCoy, best running back in Philadelphia Eagles history. I'm a Titans fan, but fly, Eagles, fly. Even though Dallas just won, who cares? I'm excited to be Iowa.
Iowa Speedway is one of those racetracks that are 7/8 of a mile, and you could run it as a short track, obviously, in the pendulum spectrum of things. However, this track is big enough to become like a super speedway. Big high speeds down the straightaways through the tri-oval, and it is only fitting that it is round number 3 of the playoffs for the Northwest Racing Series this week, Kentucky next week. And by the way, 2 more rounds, Terry Radford, for the trucks and the cup cars tonight. And we're eliminating 4 drivers. The round of 12 is going to become the round of 8. As again, we welcome you to coverage. I'm Wesley Outland. Terry Radford is alongside. When he arrives, covering the turns from turn 2 to the back straightaway to turn 3 will be Justin Prince. He is actually on assignment with some other iRacing broadcast obligations. He will be here very shortly. But Terry, I got to ask you, man, what's your thoughts of now doing your first Northwest Cup Series event? You follow the trucks on Thursday night regularly. Now we're going to see what these cup cars can do here tonight at Iowa.
Yeah, these Cup cars are going to be interesting here because obviously they don't run this in real life. So you kind of got to play with what the setup's going to be. You have to tweak and turn. What's going to have to happen is your camber going to be set a little bit to the right? Is your camber going to be set a little to the left? What's going to rotate the corner better? The trucks are loose here. I actually practiced the trucks yesterday with the little mock setup that I threw down from Iowa. And I tell you one thing, if you're watching tonight, you better watch Thursday night because Thursday night's going to be entertaining. You're going to see a lot of slipping and sliding off the exit of 2, off the exit of 4. There's no rest for the wicked in Iowa. And look the way it looks right now, Caden Anderson doing what he normally does, top of the board.
Yeah, Caden Anderson right now trying to do what he needs to do to win. Obviously, he's missed the last week of the trucks as well. He needs to come back in a big way. And if there's one track that he could possibly win to clinch and put himself into the next round of 8 of the playoffs with 2 rounds remaining in the round of 12 here tonight, Kentucky next week, tonight at Iowa, it is here tonight at Iowa Speedway. His finishing percentage is through the roof here. Bottom line, 9 times out of 10, the Yakima Washington driver wins. We know that these other drivers, when we look at the playoff standings, have advanced. And another thing we've got to keep an eye on, of course, is who is one of these drivers on the outside looking in, Terry, that have got to make a climb, especially with just 2 races remaining in the round of 12.
There's a couple that's down there that really has to make a climb up. But Iowa's kind of one of those tracks that you could play the strategy. So I wouldn't get, too caught up in points tonight. You kind of just catch the momentum when you can. You'll come down pit lane. I don't expect to see a lot of cautions. Hopefully I didn't jinx it. I'm knocking on my table that we can actually run this screen because the strategies can be played a little different here. You can kind of run this like a Martinsville, like a Richmond, and backtrack that pit stop. I look down at a guy like Dan West Jr. We've seen him have some very good runs in the truck series. Can he put that over here? He's actually on a good lap. Oh, he just jumped up to P2. So very fast so far here tonight. He's a tenth slower than Caden Anderson, who the last time I watched him race, he went wire to wire at a track very similar to this one at Richmond. So wouldn't be too surprised to see that 37 machine walk it into victory lane if the strategy presents itself.
So Terry Radford is inside of his man cave. I am in my green screen studio. If well, this is what would happen if I didn't have this here. So was it? I did rip it off the wall.
I got
it came off the wall. When it's live, it's live. It was.
I've got mine.
Damn it, he fell down.
I'm glad he's wearing pants, ladies and gentlemen, because that would have been really awkward. I have mine. I just, how can you hide this?
Stay!
I mean, you've got Earnhardt, you've got Petty, you got Kyle Petty, Bobby Labonte, my mom's favorite Rusty Wallace back there in the back.
Yeah.
My foster mom got me this awesome picture up at the top of the class of 2005. A lot of cool memorabilia back here in the back where you can't really pass it up. I mean, for heaven's sakes, I've got a box of tissues back here that were from Dale Jr. when he raced the Amp Energy car in 2008. These are just little trinkets that my mom out there in the chat finds throughout Facebook Marketplace and just buys me random NASCAR stuff.
We got to take a quick break because I got to perform some surgery. When we come back, we're going on track at Iowa Speedway. Charles Wooten is in the background for Rocket Media. I'm going to perform surgery. We'll be right back here. Stand by. It's the Northwest Cup Series playoffs from Iowa. Hopefully I don't stab myself.
Your CRN, my CRN, our CRN. We are CRN. The Community Radio Network now and the new WCRN 87.9 FM. And still always anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN. welcome to the Community Radio Network. Follow us always via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to the new CRN 87.9 and still anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel. Ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. Welcome back to the Iowa Speedway. By the way, not only are we on iRacing on LSRTV, we're also simulcast on the Community Radio Network. Of course, Terry Radford, Wesley Outland here with you. Justin Prince will be in very, very soon, calling the action from turn number 2 to turn number 3 to the back straightaway, and we are set to go. Let's take a look at the weather conditions, but first, the playoffs and the point standings. Lake Peterson has transferred from the Roval at Charlotte last week. Of course, Cole Raz won the opening round at Auto Club. We missed him last week. For everybody else, they need to make something happen. 6 points back to making it in behind Sean Breitzman is Kevin Smith, Chris White, last year's champion, Aaron Cooper, Kenneth Garber. Drivers, Terry, that are on the outside looking in. But again, there's still 2 rounds of racing left to go in the playoffs.
Well, Kevin Smith did a wonderful job there in qualifying, positioning himself P2. Chris White just a little bit further down in 10th. So a little bit of time to be gained here. You don't have to press it too early. And if you're Kevin Smith in the 00, just be patient. Run here with Caden Anderson. Feel that car out and understand that the track's going to come to you. You don't have to come to it.
Close to 26 drivers right now going in. The field is gridded. We will look at the weather in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at the starting lineup tonight for 175 laps in Iowa. Only fitting that Caden Anderson has put himself on the pole and the number 37 out of the outside, the Kevin Smith machine in the 00. Row number 2 will find Dan West Jr. in the number 55 to the outside. Jeff Staffnow, pretty good qualifying run for the Billings, Montana, number 24 Ford. Row number 3, Lake Peterson. He already won at the Roval last week. Clifford Toby Ritters with a solid qualifying run. He'll fire off in 6. Row 4 will find Robert Campbell in the 54. Brian Reynolds in car number 12. And around out the top 10 at Iowa. It'll include Brian Barnes of the Popsicle Toyota number 4 and the number 47 Dubby machine, Chris White. He will start in the top 10. He's also the defending Cup Series champion.
You go back here to row 6, you got Sean Breitzman and Cole Raz, who's already advanced in the playoffs. But Breitzman, he's right there on the cut line. And you got Chad Mollick and Troy Daggett rounds out row 7. Back there in row 8, you got Brett Johnson and Paul Newton. Stephen Paulson, I think I said that one right. John Ottenbacher down there in the row 9. And rounding out your top 20, you got Jaden Ledbetter and Aaron Cooper.
Row number 11, Chris Camary in the number 15. Carl Burke, the legend, at the 53. Row number 12 will find Frank Harris in the 11. Russ Lundberg on the promo for all the ads for the race tonight in the 129. And the final row with 26 drivers includes Ryan Bloom, 2021 ARCA Northwest champion. Solid run last week at the Roval. Ray Fournier in the back in the 26. That's the lineup. As understanding, Chad Malik has not entered just yet. By the way, real quickly, before they get one lap to come to green, let's take a look at the weather conditions, bottom right of the monitor. As these drivers are pacing on the straightaway, 77 degrees air temp, 11 degree wind speed, 12-mile-an-hour wind speed is what I meant to say. Track temp is at 78. It will be a night race, not transition from day into night. It'll start at night, end at night, and that'll be something that is also very beneficial instead of having to worry with the handling from day to night conditions. Field to come around to the 1 to go indication this time by, because technically, Terry Radford, this is a short track. All short tracks on the iRacing server at least get one preliminary lap and then another 1 to go, and we'll go to green next time by. What's your take, man, before we get started?
I think this is going to be a really interesting race. A next-gen car at Iowa, short track speed. But you also have a little bit more you're carrying more speed. So you have it like a 1.5 mile type style racetrack with very tight corners that are going to produce a challenge. I would expect to see, I hope, a good green flag run, because these next-gen cars are going to present the challenge, burning the right rear up coming through the center.
Round at number 3 of the Northwest Racing Series Cup cars in the playoffs. The next-gen machines of season number 3. Of course, there will be 175 laps ready to go for racing here. Strap in. Caden Anderson, Kevin Smith on the front row as the pace car ducks onto the pit lane, makes the hard left turn. The field is making their way to the starter's box. Green flag goes in the air. We're playoff racing at Iowa Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a virtual race. They'll send it off down into turn number 1 and 2 when Justin Prince arrives. That'll be his position to call the back straightaway. But for right now, Terry Radford, it's all Caden Anderson leading them down into 3 on the opening go.
Well, you see the battle there for a second. You got Dan West Jr. trying to fight Kevin Smith. He pushed him up the racetrack just a tad bit. I do expect that the outside lane is going to be the way to go. Somewhere in that second to third lane, as you see Kevin Smith's working it very nicely, right above the second groove, washes up towards the wall. He gets door to door with Caden Anderson going into turn 3, and this is perfect. He should clear him off the exit of 4.
Driver, door, bumper clear. They work their way off of turn 4. Couple of laps now in the early going. There's Dan West Jr. Stab now at toe behind him. Caden Anderson falling back to that number 2 spot. Kevin Smith up in front. 2 car lengths. Battle for second now. Now they conga line single file going to 3.
Yeah, you see there, you got Jeff Stabnow. He pushes the limit. He goes up to that third groove, multi-groove racetrack here at the Iowa Speedway. This kind of allows, it's a driver's racetrack. I know that term gets thrown around quite a bit, but Iowa is exactly that. It allows you to burp the throttle. You hear Jeff Stabnow there. He went in the corner, kind of burped it a little bit, rolled the brake, got back in it, felt the car want to snap, got back out of it, and then burped it again. And now he goes to the tippy top of this track, right in between those 2 seams, and he gets an excellent launch off the corner. He's going to be hunting for Dan West Jr. here in a second.
Yeah, pretty solid run now as the field works their way off of turn number 2. 3 cars hugged to the bottom of the racetrack. That's on board with Jeff Stabnow in the 424 4th position. And that car dives into turn number 3, hugs the outside of the racetrack up to the safer wall barrier. Everybody stays to the bottom of the line. We're 5 laps in. It's Smith, Anderson, West, Stabnow, Peterson also the top 5. He transferred in from Auto Club. This track is similar to Auto Club, but just a little bit smaller as the leaders work off too.
Well, this is virtually what Auto Club is going to look like once they do the reconfiguration of the racetrack. But you're right, with the progressive banking on this track, I'm surprised to see drivers on the bottom this early. Kevin Smith went out there and laid the fastest lap so far of the race with a 23.7. because he ran the outside on fresh tires. And Jeff Stabnow is doing exactly what he needs to do in this race. Find different lines that other people aren't in. Dirty air has been an issue with these next-gen cars throughout the season. I expect to see people hunting for clean air, want to get some air on the nose when they rotate the center of the corner, and not carry more speed through the center of the corner than having to work the bottom and be a lot slower.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that as they work their way now down into the corner, off the back straightaway, into turn number 3 now. It's still Kevin Smith, the leader. Here comes Anderson. Dan West Jr. in that mix. Stabnow getting some company from the 9 of Lake Peterson. And as they cross the start-finish line, he'll call the action in turn number 2 to the back stretch to 3. Canada's Justin Prince. They're coming your way, buddy, in the opening go. Okay, I guess he He is not in just yet, so I'm understanding he's getting in place. We'll get ready to toss it to him here in just a moment. But again, as the leaders work their way off the corner, Chris White and Toby Ritters now have a solid battle. Let's try this again, Justin. Good evening to you. The field works your way out of turn 2.
Yes, indeed. Hello again. As we work our way down the back straight away, Lake Peterson tries to play defense. Chris White and his Chevy work to the outside.
Yeah, he works there to the outside, and the 47 of Chris White has been doing a great job up 4 positions so far from 10th to 6th, just working the third groove, Wesley.
Actually, Terry, they're coming your way, Justin, in a moment, down the back stretch. We'll make sure we get this transition right. 1 lap me, 1 lap Terry, backstretch Justin Prince. Turn announcing radio style here at Iowa for the playoffs. As now those drivers continue to battle. White finally scampers from the cars of Ritters and Raz. Reynolds in the top 10. This now battle heats up again off turn 2.
One car slow here in the speedway, but the battle's picking up down the back straightaway. Peterson trying to play defense. Chris White to shuffle back as Cole Raz goes for the move on Toby Ritters.
Yeah, Cole Raz doing a great job right there, working the bottom side of this racetrack, trying to get around Robert Gamble. And these drivers, you got Toby Ritters in there as well. That 23, that Bud machine, looked good in the Truck Series in practice, and he's looking good here in the Cup Series.
Trying to show that his buddies trying to work around the outside. Still getting the pole. Cole Raz sends it down to the end of the first seam through 3 and 4.
Field works their way back out of turn number 4, almost 3 wide for a moment for the Auto Club winner, Cole Raz, down at the bottom of the racetrack. Ritters right there on the outside. The Budweiser 23 for Thunder Road. That goes on again out of 2.
Raz able to clear by Raz. Shut the door on Ritters does. Falling to the inside, the 12, Brian Reynolds makes it a party.
Yeah, Cole Raz winning at Auto Club, and you talked about Wesley. Iowa kind of has a similar feel to it when it comes to the keeping a sweeping corner and also keeping some momentum up as you look on board on the back bumper here of the 10 of Cole Raz. JP, this battle continues to raise on.
Ritters trying to play defense still along the outside groove. Reynolds wraps into the bottom. Ritters uses the top seam, still side by side, wrapping out of the corner.
Raz on the bottom of the monitor there. You see some great racing between Brian Reynolds and Toby Ritters. Those 2 cars behind that camera view there a moment ago. But Raz's car, now they go 2 by 2 out of turn number 2.
Raz and Reynolds seem more comfortable on the bottom. Gamble and Ritters electing to ride up top in their happy places. Ritters dropping on the pylon though.
That 54 looks to be having an issue right there. He hasn't really been able to mash the throttle off the exit. It allowed the 10 to go by, and it's also allowing the 12 of Brian Reynolds to get by as well. And how much longer before the 23 gets him?
Ritters trying to poke underneath. Gamble in turn. Hits the wall. Ritters bounces off the safer barrier. Straightening out as they work off the corner and through the corner in turn to the middle.
All these drivers now working off turn number 4 as that driver bounced off the wall. Doesn't look like he's got any harm or damage on that machine. Now he'll try to pick up where he left off on another one of those drivers of Robert Gamble up top side. Here comes Brightsman out of turn 2.
Bottom seems to be the main place to pass so far. Brightsman taking advantage. So is Ritters. To the bottom they work in 3 and 4.
I'm very surprised that the bottom has been the preferred groove in this race because these next-gen cars have needed a ton of momentum to keep it going. But Brightsman moved to the bottom, then he goes back to the middle. He'll ride that in 1 and 2. You hear him burping that throttle, and then he gets a big run off the exit of 2.
Well, remember, the right front tire cooks a lot if you run of the outside wall, Terry. Some of these drivers take out the heart of the bottom.
Yeah, we'll watch that now as Brightsman's car up against the outside safer wall barrier gets a run on a bonsai on the 23 of Ritters. He's got a big log jam of traffic in front of him, Terry. Justin, as they work off 2.
Reynolds inside of Chris White. The W car tries to find things to work out of the third line. Reynolds go on the inside.
Yeah, he lets Reynolds go in the 12 machine, but the 47's going to jump back down to the bottom, try to take this 3 wide as they go to the car in front of him. And Jeff Stabnow doing a great job here, sitting in 6, just right in front of these 2 battling side by side.
Just as you say that, though, Stabnow starting to swat some flies, holds on to the car on the outside. Chris White sends it inside for evasive action, looks to battle with Reynolds.
All of this happening as they work their way off turn number 4, 20 laps in now of this 175-lap event. This is the battle going on for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Back again in turn 2. Reynolds on the bottom of stab down.
But for the race lead at the other end of the back straightaway, Anderson taking advantage of a wash-up from Smith. The lead is on. Anderson trying to swap it out at 4.
Yeah, Caden Anderson fell back for a little bit, but he gained his footing, gained the momentum back, and he goes to the inside of the 00 of Kevin Smith, put Caden Anderson to P1 at 37 machines here to party.
Anderson looking to set sail and sail away down the back. Stretching the gap to a quarter car length. Smith sends it hard to the outside, drips the tires through 4.
Runs each other up the racetrack. It's going to be now that machine of Anderson scampering from the machine of Smith. Put now Caden Anderson to the lead. Meanwhile, Brightsman stab now. Chris White. This battle goes on to the top 10 in turn 1, and Ritters wants to get in the dogfight.
Stab now trying the second line to avoid the bottom bumps. Brightsman taking all the bumps and saying, let's go inside into 3. Stab now launches it to the outer groove, trying to wrap the high side.
And Ritter's just trying to take it 3 wide. He saw that little opening there in between those two machines and thought for sure that he would be able to put that Chevrolet in between the Toyota and the Ford on the outside, but thought twice of it. And now the 24 Stabnow is going to be under attack from Sean Brightsman. Oh, Brightsman's around!
Brightsman able to hold on to it, nearly went to the inside wall. Pulls it back onto the racetrack, now battles with Brian Reynolds on the gather-up.
The 2020 Cup Series champion of the Northwest, Sean Brightsman, with a problem, but somehow saved his car. He does fall back outside the clutches of the top 10 behind Brian Barnes. The leaders do stay single file as one rides up the wall. It is going to be the 36 of Ledbetter, but he stays in tow to the back straightaway.
Gather it up, though, holding on to the momentum. Ledbetter still a +5 in the race so far. He runs the middle groove up the track.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers trying to figure out what lane's going to work the best for them. Lap times have fallen off almost a second and a half, 2 seconds for some of them. And you see cars slipping and sliding. That's the 99 out there on the outside. That's Daggett. He's almost smacking the wall, JP.
Yeah, and he's been having some struggles in the midst of this part of the run. Losing ground, tries the high side. Doesn't keep up, though, on the bottom.
Field works off of turn 4, roaring through the Geico restart zone, now past start finish. This is now that battle. We continue to watch Ledbetter. Also in this mix is Newton, the 99 of Daggett. Cooper also going at it to the back straightaway. Ledbetter almost hit the wall again, Justin.
And Ledbetter is absolutely struggling. Tires seem to be starting to already pop up on the radios. A major concern for some.
Yeah, the 99 almost lost it right there. He's sitting right in front of Aaron Cooper in that 71 machine. And you got to go all the way back 2.5 seconds to John Ottenbacher. Frank Harris is on pit lane. This has been a slip slide track so far.
Down the back, meanwhile, amongst those letting spots go, Troy Daggett. No battle with Aaron Cooper. They are 6/10 off the pace of the leaders.
Under attack, Ledbetter now. Cooper to the bottom. There goes Ritter's car. Here's a battle now heating up for the top 10. It's Ritter's leading it. Stab now wants it. And also Barnes is going to bring him 3 cars behind him out of 2.
Down the back, Barnes trying to hold off Brightsman. Climbs to the bottom side. Reynolds. Several more to the front.
You put 5 cars under a blanket right here, going all the way back from 8th till about Brightsman back there in 12th. You could virtually say that you could one bobble and you're going to lose position. As Stabnow gets a little loose there on the bottom, he's going to get challenged to the outside.
Stabnow losing ground because of the liftoff in the bobble round. Starting to get really snappy as they start to build a buffer. Ritters does.
Out of turn number 4, we're working now 30 laps into this race. The leaders go back off into quarter number 1 and 2. No change in the top 5. Anderson, Peterson, West, Raz, and Smith. This battle goes on to the top 10 with Ritters and more out of turn 2.
Ritters so far all over the map when it comes to the pylon. He's chosen the middle line. It's working well to gain up to White.
Back across the start-finish line, Ritters now continues to try to run down Chris White. Brian Barnes on the outside looking in for this battle. Brightsman back to the top 10 as they work off 2.
Down through 3 and 4 right now. Ritters continuing to chomp away at Chris White's advantage.
And the leaders
Chris
come
White
back across the line here with the, I'm sorry, Terry, I thought you had stepped away, buddy. We'll throw it back to you in just a moment. It's Justin again. We got another great battle. This is going on between Reynolds and Wright for 6th.
Indeed it is, because White trying the outside is trying to get himself back around the 12. Reynolds still with the better line. Good exit.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how good Debbie and Jack Daniels goes together, but I should be happy to try it. Caution flag is out over the Iowa Speedway. Find out what happened here. Jeff
Yellow
Stabnow.
flag. It's Jeff Stabnow's car, number 24, stuck at the bottom of the racetrack. It looked like he made some contact with the inside retaining wall, exiting off of turn number 4, entering the tri-oval, and the number 24 Ford. We'll see how much damage is on his car as we look at a replay to put us under the first yellow flag of the race here at Iowa Speedway. Terry, you saw it all break loose in front of you.
Yeah, he had been getting sideways through the center of these corners, and he goes through 3 and 4, and off the exit of 4, just loses it, locks it up. No contact with that wall. And that was the most fortunate thing for the 24 Ford, is that he was able to lock it down. He spun a little bit higher in the groove, so had enough area to save it. But this was a sigh of relief for a lot of these drivers that was fighting 10th on back. They're coming down pit lane. Tires are going to be a premium here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The cavalry is coming down to the pit lane, and 35 laps in, it looks like everybody is coming down. The cavalry comes down to the pit lane at pit road speed, and you got to make sure in the playoffs, definitely throughout the season, but mostly in the playoffs, you want to hit your marks, not make any mistakes, be perfectly around the track in your pit stalls, get everything done perfectly, and exit as best as you can as pit stall number 1 will go. Decatur Anderson, White behind. Of course, the Smith, then it's West Jr., the 55. 4 tires. Fuel, Dan West Jr., I think he took 2 tires. He is gone off pit road. Anderson and Smith still there. The 55. First car into the pit lane was Caden Anderson, but Justin, he wasn't the last car out. It was, of course, the driver out first of Dan West Jr.
That's a major gamble. You know what else was a gamble? Staying out, like Chris White, Brian Barnes, Jeff Stabnow did. Stabnow, remember, went around and triggered the caution. And that is a major call, because keep in mind, there are 3 tire sets in the pits tonight, Wesley and Terry. And the issue with that is, of course, you have to pick and choose when you end up taking to make sure you have enough tires and tire life for the end. These are the types of calls, though, if you don't get a caution where you need it to fall, it could end up destroying your event.
We are at the top of the hour coming up. Yeah, we're at the top of the hour coming up on it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to pause for 10 seconds of radio identification on CRN, the Community Radio Network. This is iRacing from Iowa Speedway with the Northwest Racing Series playoffs.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Welcome back to Iowa Speedway, round number 3 of the round of 12 opening playoffs for the Northwest Racing Series Cup cars. I am Wesley Outland, of course. Terry Radford up alongside of the tower. Covering the action from turn number 2 to the backstretch is Canada's Justin Prince. Our directors, of course, is closing with Rocket Media, Jeff Stabnow and Charles Wooten manning the production. Looking at coming up on 40 laps into this race, and it looks like Chris White, Terry, will have that W47 back for the restart. And mind you, we mentioned this coming on the air, Terry. He's one of those drivers on the outside looking in the playoffs. And if he wants to defend his crown and advance to the round of 8, he has got to have a good run. This is a good start.
Well, this is not how you do it, because you got fresh tires behind you. You got 36 laps on this set of Goodyear Eagles. he is going to drop like a rock in a pond when they drop this green flag, because Dan West Jr.'s fast, Caden Anderson, Lake Peterson, Cole Raz, and Kevin Smith are all right there ready to capitalize on these top three that decided to stay out. Jeb Stabnow brought the caution out. His tires are even more abused because he went for the slide through 3 and 4 and on to pit lane there for a second. But you better hope for a caution. You better hope for one quick, because your net gain is not going to be a big gain. He was sitting like 7th or 8th when the caution came out. He's going to fall further than that when they drop the green flag.
Lights off on the pace car. Justin Prince, they're heading back your way to a restart. What's your take of the opening 39 laps at Iowa?
Well, so far so clean, but I think that trend may change here, because you've got one driver who's been abusing the right rear tire. You've got Chris White and Brian Barnes that will be quickly passed on by here with the difference in tires. This will not be pretty, I think you can fairly safely say, because it's more like a boulder in the pond than a rock, to say the least, coming up here.
We'll see what happens. Lights off for the pace car, as we just mentioned. And for the first time tonight, the field will make their way back to the Geico restart zone with White and, of course, or Barnes on along the front row. Stabnow West, couple of teammates alongside. Green flag going back in the air. And let's see how things transpire. Anderson peeking down to the inside. They're going to go 3 wide for third as they work off 2.
And there goes the boulder. Jeff Stabnow taken 3 wide by Dan West Jr., now by Cole Raz on the inside. Stabnow slides up the track. Peterson dives through.
Yeah, everybody's fighting for this position here because they know it's an easy pick to get. Barnes and White got away with a tad bit, but it's not going to be too long until Caden Anderson's right there ready to take it.
Taking advantage of all this, Peterson and Raz side by side still. They close up the Barnes. For the race lead, Anderson underneath Chris White. Makes it look easy for the lead.
Anderson down to the inside, entering the tri-oval, back to start finish. Give Caden Anderson the lead. Everybody says he is the bullseye to watch here in Iowa. He is making that point happen as they're 3 wide behind him with White in the middle out of 2.
Just avoiding contact, Lake Peterson does with Chris White. Cole Raz wraps the bottom. The top 3 all wrap it. Peterson picks the tempo up with Raz.
Yeah, and you see that Chris White jumps to the outside. He's the boulder that JP talked about. He's going to drop a lot further than this if this run progresses, because there's no way those used tires are going to hold up here.
Down the back, meanwhile, Kevin Smith also joining the party. And Brian Reynolds to his race high. All of those drivers have one constant, wrapping the bottom.
Off of turn number 4, Anderson the leader. Peterson now the winner, of course, at Charlotte at the Roval last week. He clinched his opportunity to go to the round of 8. He's looking for more. A matter of fact, Raz is also an Auto Club winner. They're right now in 2nd and 3rd.
All of them setting the tempo and the table of 24-2s, all 5 line astern.
Yeah, and the thing right here is you don't want another person locked in, so they want to beat Caden Anderson to make him have to fight this in on points. So for Cole Raz and Blake Peterson, they don't care what anybody else does. They just want more wins.
Win-win. Everyone wants that, of course. Still, the buffer starting to build up. Raz riding the back end of Anderson out of 4.
Staying to the inside of the racetrack through the corners, top of the racetrack out of turn number 4. Anderson, Raz, Peterson, Smith on the outside looking in along with Reynolds, the top 5 out of 2, down to the bottom single file.
Kevin Smith starting to slip back all of a sudden. That's been the major play. Remember, Anderson trying to back it down and slow it down before. Kevin Smith having to slow it up big time in this.
Yeah, Lake Peterson kind of parked the bus a little bit there in the center of the corner. But for your guys who didn't pit, Chris White back to 14th, 17th for Barnes, 21st for Jeff Stabnow.
That's the price you pay on staying out on old tires, right? Chris White, for reference, he's under attack by a Hornet's nest in 3/4. Troy Daggett up the road. Brett Johnson, Chad Malik amongst those looking to get around the W car.
And Jeff Stabnow, just saw a moment ago, falls all the way back to the 21st position. as all this action continues. Now you've got White under attack with the driver of Brett Johnson in front of him. Here comes Harris on the bottom out of turn 2.
Another car passes on by Chris White, continuing to feel the hurt of a difference of 30-plus laps on the tires. The face that's on his car, well, it's the face he might be making right now.
Yeah, you could say you could cue up the Johnny Cash because he hurt himself today by not pitting on that last caution because those tires are hollering. They want to get off of this car. And while this might be a net gain towards the end of the race, Justin, it's not a gain right now.
Still working down the backstretch. Malik still backing it down amongst this. Ross Lundberg is closing into his rear end now, nearly to his side pod.
All this working now with Lundberg on the bottom. This is now with White up on the top of the racetrack. This battle going on with cars on the bottom of the speedway with now way off the pace. We see this happening now as they work over lap 50 into this race.
Keep in mind, starting to get very loose, Chris White is right now. Eventually will reach that pit window. Malik squeezes him up the track out of 4.
Yeah, that got a little nerve-wracking right there if you're Malik and you're fighting against a guy who does not have tires. And while he is a playoff driver, he better be praying for a caution to come out and come out soon so he doesn't go down a lap.
That's the huge thing. They're half the track behind the race leader currently. Chris White choosing the top. Barnes also on the old tires trying to pass him too.
Barnes on the inside trying to make a move on the car with the tires all used up of Chris White, our defending champion. However, he'll throw the block. Now he'll go to the inside, pulls up in front of Barnes at a 2.
Barnes on equal footing with White, choosing the outside line now for the attack. Tries to roll the corner. White elects to send it to the bottom. Barnes takes his line. Barnes with a run.
Yeah, Barnes gets a big run right there in the 47, and White tried to push up in front of it, but it wasn't going to work. The 4, Barnes, has that forward momentum on that outside lane, and you're right, Justin. You talked about burning the right front off. You run the outside for too long, you could find yourself in that fence.
Still able to hold on. Barnes for the time being. Keep in mind, they are being quickly reeled in by the race leaders. Raz continuing to ride the back end of Anderson each and every corner currently.
Super friends, as we call them, Anderson and Raz. Raz won at Auto Club in the opening round of the playoffs. Peterson behind him, winner last week at the Roval. They're 1, 2, and 3. They're on the racetrack on lap 55 off of turn number 2, and nobody jumps out of line yet.
The patience game coming out is the main thing noted for this grouping. Trying to make sure no tires get abused here.
Yeah, you don't want to abuse the tires, and while they only got 20 laps on this set, if you just be patient with it, let the track, groove in, let it settle itself, as you got a battle right here between the 12 and the 00. They're going at it pretty hard back here.
Single file, the leaders work their way again off of turn number 4. Anderson, of course, still the man of the point. Behind the drivers of Raz and Peterson, it is a heated battle. Justin Prince between Kevin Smith, Brian Reynolds, Ryan Bloom in this battle as they work off turn number 2.
On the back, Bloom has been trying to slowly bloom his way like a flower to them to the outside. Can't get to Reynolds yet.
I like that. Bloom yourself like a flower. He's trying to bloom right here. He's trying to get past that number 12 machine, and he's going to do it. He'll put himself up to the P5 position, and now he sets his eyes on the 00 of Kevin Smith just right up in front.
Lost a bit of ground, though, as they make their way through 3 and 4. Smith right now looking at the Hooters machine still.
Back across the start-finish line now, but it'll be lap number 59, working lap number 60 here at Iowa Speedway. Brightsman, Cooper, Ritters, they're going at it for a position in the top 10 out of turn 2.
Brightsman amongst those who has been trying to be fairly aggressive throughout this race tonight. Working to the outside, still trying to use those dotted marks with Cooper.
You got some big movers here in this race so far. Right up in front of him, Aaron Cooper up 12 positions, Bloom up 20, Cole Raz up 10. A lot of passing has been able to be made here on that outside lane, but the bottom side seems to be predominant as Brightsman goes for this pass here on Cooper.
Brightsman outside again. Looking to keep Cooper under pressure. Not showing enough yet.
Most of the outside retaining wall goes Brightsman. Cooper now closes in on the 46. Now he's after Stab now. Cooper after Rinders after turn number 2.
Pass by Stab now. Stab now already a lap down as a result of his strategy decision. He'll need some luck to be able to get back in the lead lap. Brightsman inside of Cooper.
Yeah, he's going to need a caution. He's going to need it soon because it's about a second gap before they get to Dan West Jr. back there in the 20th position to put him a lap down, 20 cars on the lead lap, but it's very, very soon to be 19.
Brightsman having to get regrouped again. This time Cooper takes his line, forces the check. Brightsman tries to wrap high, can't get there yet.
Brightsman slams off the wall. Cooper down to the bottom of the racetrack. This is again for 8th and 9th. Brightsman, 2020 Cup Series champion, getting around Cooper. Now wants Ritters out of turn 2, JP.
What a clear by. Brightsman able to hold on. Now Brightsman works himself up that top groove coming out of 4.
Yeah, you see 3 different distinctive grooves being ran there. You see the 27 of Paul Newton working to the bottom. You got Cooper in the middle. You got Brightsman was kind of playing with the middle and the bottom at the same time. Wasn't very decisive on where he wanted to go, but as they come off the 2, it's single file here.
Very single file, but that's the way things can trend at Iowa. Patience, patience, and more patience. Newton looking to try a move.
And the field works back off of turn number 4. 66 laps now go up on the scoreboard. 65 are completed. All of this going on with Anderson, Raz, Peterson, Smith, and Bloom, the top 5, happening to the back straightaway.
Through 3 and 4, Cooper trying to play the defense side. Newton trying to design a way forward. Closes in on 4.
Yeah, that time you see Cooper get a little bit loose right there and allowed Paul to get down to the inside. The 27 will work the bottom, wrap it all the way down that yellow line. He'll make that pass complete, put the 27 up to P9, and it's a crossover move for the 71.
No cross working, though. Meanwhile, in front of them, Bloom, Reynolds back to cracking.
And back to the start-finish line as Ryan Bloom has changed the paint job in his car, a stealth black and blue color, if you will. He's after Ritters and White. This going on back on the back straightaway.
Chris White used as a pick as he's now lost a lap. Bloom trying to use the bottom. Trying to keep himself towards his fellow black car counterpart, and Reynolds off 4.
Yeah, that Broncos machine looks pretty good there in the 6th place position. Not looking so good for the drivers who decided to stay out in that last caution, as Brian Barnes is next to go a lap down. He'll be lapped very soon.
Pressure building for some of those drivers, absolutely. But now, Toby Ritters amongst those getting by the traffic. Brightsman has closed the gap. He's within 2 car lengths to the red car.
And the field works back across the start-finish line. Believe it or not, we're closing in on over 100 laps to go. Only 1 caution flag to stop this race. Ritters, Brightsman, White, this battle again off 2.
On the back once more, Brightsman. A little harder in through the corner, chooses the middle groove. Up against the second dotted lines. Has to arc it down. He's with it in a car length.
Yeah, he stays within a car length there, but you see this battle still rages on as Brightsman tries to catch up to Ritters and Bloom. You see the drivers out there on the outside lane. That could become a big issue as they catch in a bad spot. That's going to allow Ritters to get there.
Lap traffic a-ho. Malik stays up top. Bloom with Ritters all over his business.
Field works back off of turn number 4. Back to the line. Ritters to the bottom of the racetrack. Ryan Bloom side by side. This is for 6th spot as the leaders go off 2.
Ritters way shallow on the bottom. Has to lift off the gas. Bloom with the run up top. Ritters back attacks. Into the old line. Bloom all the way up the seam.
Yeah, Ritter's is going to complete this pass here. Bloom, I thought for a second would be able to get there on the outside and still hang on the quarter panel, but to no avail. Put the 23 up to the P6 position. He's going to try to chase down the 12 in front of him, and they already got the 4 a lap down here, so it's 16 cars left.
Brightsman now getting a chance on Bloom in turn. Bloom forced up high. The teal machine of Brightsman looks to reel down the bottom.
And Brightsman now right in the middle of the car that just came off the pit lane of Dan West Jr. To the outside of him, of course, the driver, Ryan Bloom. All this battle continues off 2.
Down the back, Dan West Jr. just came out of the pit lane on fresh tires, takes it 3 wide, forces Brightsman up. And forced to lift as he tries to clear.
Thought that might have been our caution right there because Dan West Jr. came up with a head of steam, and it kind of spooked Brightsman for a second as he had Bloom out to his outside. That could have been huge, Justin.
It could have been huge, but right now things staying calm for the time being. Ritters. Forced up top, Barnes spins it, coming into the pit lane, up the track for the caution.
Yellow flag out over the racetrack, probably similar to where Jeff Stabnow had spun, but this time he has contact with the wall. Justin Prince, you saw it break loose for yellow flag number 2, ironically on lap 75, 100 laps to go at Iowa.
That came just simply from a head of the apron for Barnes as he tried to come in, and this pit entry is extremely difficult here at Iowa for a reason. You hit the apron at the wrong angle. If you go even too early like Barnes did, second he hit that apron, your car goes bye-bye, and that's what happened. Barnes has spin up the track, triggers the caution, fully completes the spin to the wall.
Yellow flag is out for the second time here at the Iowa Speedway, coming up on under 100 laps to go. Well, I think everybody, Terry Radford's going to be making the peel onto the pit lane here. No excuses. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't expect to see anybody decide to play that undercut there, but this is a tough break for the guys who decided to stay out on that last one. I mean, they didn't get much of an opportunity there to really stay on the strategy they wanted to. Now they got to come potentially stay out and get the wave around. Dan West Jr., who just came down, Chad Malik, Troy Daggett, those drivers that pitted, they're 2 laps down or more. So you can only take the wave around here and hope that it works for you.
Pit stops ongoing. Caden Anderson, Kevin Smith, you see them in front of you. As right now it's going to be 4 tires filling up that Sunoco race fuel tanks and get them back to full capacity. The race off pit road to the line, as it looked like Raz and Peterson was going to try to give Anderson a run for the money, but just not at this time. Caden Anderson coming onto the pit lane. Strong run in that car number 37. Pretty solid pit stop, as it looks like his timing and scoring will update. Caden Anderson, the leader. Cole Raz up 10 spots to second. Blake Peterson up 2 spots to third. Kevin Smith falls back 2 spots to fourth, and up 3 spots at the top 5. Briar Reynolds. Toby Ritters, as Frank Harris just came onto the pit lane after the leaders have, followed by Sean Brightsman, Ryan Bloom, Paul Newton, Aaron Cooper, currently your top 10. Justin, pretty exciting racing for the most part. You had a feeling a caution flag was coming, and I think you called it there, but I think it was just driving too hard in the bottom of the racetrack, in the diamond of the corner, losing control. We saw it happen to Stabnow, and we saw it happen to Brian Barnes for just a single car accident.
Well, as I mentioned, it was more so on the pit entry than trying to go too low in the corner, it seemed there. Just not the right angle to be able to enter the pit lane. And it's so much of an art form to enter the pit lane right at a track like Iowa, where if you don't carry out the speed right, if you don't aim right, if you don't even hit, especially the area you're supposed to come down where the yellow line ends on the apron, be able to peel off, and you end up hitting a bump that's down on the apron, just the very edge of where you're supposed to go, your car's going around, and in that case, that brought out the caution, trapped many people laps down as a result.
Terry, for you to elaborate more on that. Just a couple of single car spins. We've not seen any type of crazy calamity just yet.
Yeah, key word, just yet. We're just cracked over the halfway portion, so give her a second. Drivers are going to start to get impatient. You know, if we continuously see the trend of single car spins at around the pit window for all of these drivers, we got 2 more sets in the pit lane, so we could see them go out to about maybe 140, and then you see a caution, and then you go to the rest of the way, obviously with potential calamity.
It'll be lap number 88 whenever the field does come to halfway here. We'll have our mid-race race report with Justin, Terry, and myself, as right now it is still 80 laps completed in this event. The lights will go off on the pace car. You see Dan West Jr. getting the wave around, if you will, trying to get back some of those laps that he had on the racetrack when he pitted in the 55 machine. And I believe actually that's going to get him now at 1 lap down, as no other takers taking the wave around except for Dan West Jr. And you got to remember, as we get ready for the restart, Justin, he pitted before the caution, and that's why he took advantage of the wave around, just put him 1 lap down now as he's trying to get back in the game.
Problem is, it's still 1 lap down in this race, so in other words, he'll need another caution to try and get the lucky dog in this situation. We're all set to go for the restart.
Super Friends down on the front straightaway, ready to go with Anderson and Raz. As Justin mentioned, the pace car drops onto the pit lane. Field back inside the Geico restart zone, and they come back to speed again. Through the gearboxes, back to start finish, into turn number 1. Anderson, Raz, Peterson, and the same old song and dance again, JP out of turn 2.
Top 4 able to single file out. Ritters first side by side with Reynolds. Ritters hard charge to the 3rd line. Nice to clear by Reynolds and does out of 4.
Yeah, you see all these drivers right here starting to jockey for position. Everybody wants to know, what do I have in this car? We're 83 laps in. Who's going to take it here and who's going to take the opportunity?
Raz trying to take the opportunity to attack Anderson. They follow line to line. Raz a little quicker in the corner. Tries to diamond it. Lifts up 4.
Back to the bottom of the racetrack, now back up to the top. 2 car links back behind the 3rd. Lake Peterson, battle for the lead. Raz and Anderson, he's reeling him in out of 2.
Raz trying to still get underneath Anderson. Still can't get the run yet. Anderson slams the door. Raz again pulls up the momentum all over the back end again of the 37.
Yeah, this isn't like the old car where you could take the air off the spoiler. You actually have to make a little contact here in this. And Cole Raz isn't going to be the one to do it, but he's going to wait for Caden Anderson to make the mistake.
This is one of the ways to do it. Pressurize the mistake. Raz not allowing any breathing room for Anderson. Anderson parks it again. Still even off of 4.
Back to the start-finish line as they come back to the top of the racetrack. Anderson still protecting that line. Half a car length, maybe more. Raz is there. Peterson looking at these 2 cars battle off 2.
On the back once more. Raz the diamond this time, trying something different. Doesn't work. Off of 4, still the same difference.
Yeah, it doesn't work, but you saw the back end slip a little bit right there for the 37 of Caden Anderson. Cole Raz is there to pounce. Hey, if anything was to happen, but the 37 still wraps the bottom here.
Top 2 putting on a show. Raz looking to showcase the inside. Backs out of it. Goes back to the bottom. Goes back to the back.
And the
bumper
field
off of 4.
Yeah, the field back single file back almost to the top of the racetrack, as it looks like also the top 2, Anderson and Raz, pulling away from Peterson. Top 2 starting to set sail here, Justin.
Yes, they're setting the tempo by as much as a 10th per lap. Compare that to drivers like Kevin Smith. Toby Ritters trying to find a way to keep the 00 honest, working through 3 and 4.
Yeah, faster that time for Kevin Smith. He was almost 2/10 faster than most of the drivers on the field. So you see what he's been able to do as Kevin Smith just sits there and runs consistent lap times.
Down the back once more. Ritters Now having to play a bit of defense, though. Losing all the ground to Smith. Here comes Brian Reynolds with the pole.
Just past halfway here at Iowa Speedway. We'll get you settled in for the mid-race race report here in just a moment. As right now, Caden Anderson, Raz, Peterson, top 3. There's Smith and Ritter's your top 5, but Reynolds trying to come back off 2.
Reynolds into 3, meanwhile, launches his way forward. It's the fishing rods out, reels in the red 23.
Yeah, he's attempting to reel him in, but the 23's doing a great job. Just sitting there being calm, cool, and collective right behind Kevin Smith.
Through towards the Iowa Speedway logos. Reynolds. Keeper through the corner. Wraps up top. Looks to launch. Looks to send it up to the front.
Field comes back to the start line. As there you see Smith's car. All this happening now is look at now Raz finally picking up speed on Anderson. He's now under attack for the lead off of turn 2.
Raz not backing down. Looks a little higher. Looks for the diamond. Looks for the yard. Can't get to the inside of the gray 37.
Yeah, try to pull the McDonald's arch right there as he went to the middle to the bottom, back to the middle off exit. They go deeper into 1. We'll imaginally see if Cole Raz treats this like a road course.
It's been intriguing how this is played out amongst them. A 1.3 second buffer for the rest of the pack. Raz to the inside once more. Still can't dunk underneath the 37.
And all this happening now as the leaders work back to start finish. Look at Ritter's solid run for the driver of the Thunder Road Budweiser 23. He's in 5th. He's holding off now. Reynolds and Cooper off turn number 2 as we work lap 93 at Iowa.
Cooper much improved compared to the previous run. Looking to close back up to Reynolds. Reynolds inside gets underneath the 23.
I do know how Jack Daniels and Budweiser taste. I just don't want him to touch on the racetrack as the 12 of Reynolds gets down to the bottom into 1. He's going to be able to wrap the center a little bit. The 23's having a hard time launching here.
Oh, do they taste together? Don't want to find out. Reynolds looks to try and showcase why his car is better. The inside again of the Bud machine.
The battle of the adult beverage cars continues as they work across the start-finish line. It's Reynolds on the inside. Ritter's on the outside. Riddle me this, Justin. Who will come out on top?
Looking to try and work the bottom. Reynolds again. Ritter's still playing defense. Not able to keep it up this time. This Bud goes to the other car.
Well, I'm telling you, Jack Daniels is the one that makes you fall on your butt quicker, but Budweiser, it's a little heavy on the gut. But yeah, Jack Daniels wins this round.
I am not an alcohol drinker. I have no idea what you're talking about. Reynolds through 3. 4 meanwhile looks to scurry away as here comes a lap car and Chris White to join the fray.
Let's see if Ritter's can get those Clydesdale horsepower machines back to machine power, make a run back after the machine of Ritter's. He's now got some company, though, because also Aaron Cooper is on his back door. Chris White, too, out of turn 2. He's one of the lap cars, Justin.
And that's going to be the major thing. Chris White is getting to where he can work through half the lead lap cars with the pace he's running.
Yeah, and all he has to do is kind of just sit there because Jeff Stabnow is the next car, 1 lap down in 19th. He's about 4 or 5 seconds away from him as he looks underneath Ritter's.
And no surprise, no giveaway from the lead lap cars. Toby Ritter's to the outside. Chris White once more. Drivers worrying about 47 on the radio.
Back to the line. Ritter's holding on to that 6th spot outside the top 5. He's trying to run back down Ritter's, but is running down the machine of Reynolds is what I meant to say. Brian Reynolds in front of him. White there on the back straightaway, still a lap down, and working all of this happening now is, by the way, we work lap 100 as the field comes to the line this time by triple digits go up on the scoreboard, and we are 75 laps to go here in round 3 of the playoffs at Iowa. No change in the top 5, JP, as they work off 2 and you.
Things are settling in, and already we're approaching that mark towards the previous windows of the caution flags. The question is, how far will this run play out? or through 4.
That's a good point. We haven't really seen many green flag laps here, but we've spread out quite a bit here. As you take a look back here at Ryan Bloom just crossing the start-finish line. Caution could be imminent. 20 laps maybe?
We'll have to see if it ends up coming to play. That's where the right rear tires really struggled last time. Bloom in particular. Monsto's picking up tempo. Ottenbacher falling off the cliff currently.
Ottenbacher and Bloom in the top 10. That's Paul Newton in the 11th spot on the outside looking in. How many of you, back to you, Justin, thinks Bloom's car looks a lot like Troy Daggett's? Man, he changed that wrap job, and it's confusing to us whether it's 25 or 99.
It looks more like a blend of one of the Kurt Busch paint schemes from this season, as well as a couple others still remaining patient.
I think his paint scheme looks pretty good. I mean, it looks better than the Boise State football team, I can tell you that much.
Well, he did keep the logo from Boise State on it tonight, as well as one of the sponsors from Kurt Busch's machines throughout the season. Ottenbacher and Bloom choosing the high line, middle line for Newton, though, in this group.
All this happening with the field coming back out of turn number 4. Ottenbacher now sitting in the 9th spot. Ryan Bloom, that blue and black car we're talking about right there. With Newton right there on the outside in 11th. All this happening on the back straightaway. And Paulison trying to close in also.
That's the intriguing part of all this. Newton, normally a road course ringer, doing a solid job on the oval.
Yeah, he is doing a solid job here on the oval. I watched him in the truck series, absolutely put on a show at Watkins Glen, and you could kind of race this like a road course, a little bit more brakes.
So far, so clean for Noonan and Turr. He looks to try and chip back at Bloom for the time being. Still 4 car lengths back out of 4.
Field works back to start finish, cross the line, put lap number 107 on the board now, or working lap 107, 106 laps in. No change in the leaders, it's still Anderson up in front. We watch this battle continue for 9th.
Concern has to be eventually Ottenbacher or Bloom at the top. You'd have to think will give way. That's how the tires have fared tonight.
Yeah, you see the 3-way battle for one position here. The 89 has done a good job kind of holding Bloom up here, but I feel like Bloom's just a little bit faster. You just can't seem to get around him.
Yeah, it's a roadblock with Arrow and particular lots of dirty air. Same can be said with Breitzman and Cooper up the road. Breitzman trying the different line to pass him.
Yeah, Cooper under attack. Breitzman now making a move. The car slams into the wall. It's going to be Ryan Bloom's car. He loses momentum, gets passed by Ottenbacher. Now Newton trying to go after him on driver right to the outside out of 2, but still no caution.
And forced to reset up in front of them. Breitzman wrapping the inside around Cooper. Bloom looking for an air peek on Ottenbacher.
Yeah, Bloom tried a video game move, and yes, it's a simulator, not a video game, but he tried it. He drove it deep into the corner, tried the slide job here, got in front of the 89, but just couldn't sustain the momentum, went right into the wall.
Ottenbacher not backing down. Bloom looking to clear fully. Up for 9th. Lines to the middle line. Ottenbacher tries the line, slams the door on Newton.
Ryan Bloom, whatever problem he had, now Sean Breitzman off the pace, drops to the bottom of the apron here on the front straightaway. Now he's back up to speed. Now he goes to the outside lane. There's a problem, Justin, on Breitzman's car.
Breitzman now gathers it back up, but Breitzman trying to shake off some of the anger. He now has to fight with Ottenbacher off of 4.
And at 46, lit that right rear up on fire, it seemed, as he started to get loose there. But he's regathered it, cooled it down just quite a bit. He goes back to the middle. He's going to try to fight Ryan Bloom here, as Bloom looks like he got a little loose on the seam.
Nearly all the way to the wall. Breitzman makes it look easy on the bottom. Wraps to the middle. Breitzman returns to the top 8 with the move.
2 cars with problems in the last 5 laps. Ryan Bloom in 25, Sean Breitzman in 46. Now these drivers try to shake it off and try to get back going again, as currently they're in the top 10 out of turn 2.
Now Ottenbacher losing his line. Newton works up the high groove. Newton has the pole. Ottenbacher forced to lift hard as he slides up.
Yeah, Paul's done a good job here, but you see them both getting a little wiggly off the exit of the corner. These seams are unforgiving. If you slide your tire in one of the seams, you're going to slide to the wall or you're going to go all the way around.
Ottenbacher really losing the tires now in turn as they work down the back straightaway. Now he's up for grabs for Stephen Paulison. Ottenbacher nearly to the wall. The tires are off a cliff.
Yeah, Ottenbacher's car definitely free-falling, if you will. Now we're seeing those tires become used up. Paulison now trying to make a run on him. Also Ledbetter for 12th and 13th. They're under attack for Justin off of turn number 2.
Trying to take advantage of Paulison's checkups. And Ledbetter gets slammed by Paulison. They hook together. Paulison uses him as a ramp. Holds on to the spot.
Well, they always say 8 tires are better than 4, and right there that kind of helped because it looked like Paulison was really going to take Ledbetter to the wall. He almost lost it there, but they both save it. They continue to fight on.
Better letting him on by. Clear by. Now Ledbetter gets to the patience levels. Rule his way back to the green machine for 11.
Field makes their way back out of turn number 4, and we're a little bit late, but we welcome you inside our broadcast studios for all of us wherever we are with Terry Radford and myself, Wesley Outland. We'll be back with Justin in a moment. Welcome to the Mid-Race Report. Terry, your take of this race so far, pretty much the Super Friends show, like we expected. And Caden Anderson trying to win. Oh, and by the way, I mentioned his average finishing position here at Iowa is pretty darn good. He's not proven me wrong. He's looking to win round number 3 and put himself into the championship round of 8.
Yeah, he pulled a 3-second lead over Lake Peterson, who's jumped up there as you see drivers getting loose off the corner here. This is what we talked about in the opening part of the show, Wesley, where drivers were going to have a hard time controlling, where their car was going to go. They're not able to run the lines that I thought either. Now it's mainly a bottom feeder show, and you potentially work your way to the wall. This has been completely entertaining, and for the people out there watching and the people listening, this has been quite entertaining.
You can't see him, but you can hear him on the back straightaway. Justin Prince, what's your take of the race so far here at Iowa, buddy?
So far, so clean. So far, so rhythmistic, and that's one of the main things when it comes to Iowa over the past few years. Lots of green flag racing, lots of rhythmistic movement where it takes several laps to set up a pass. And for many of our top runners, those who know how to manage the throttle, manage the brakes, manage the bottom of the racetrack are the ones that are seeing the most here tonight. Caden Anderson in particular, the best example of how to preserve tires, is outrunning the field by a wide margin right now.
Over 50 laps to go. Terry, Justin, your thoughts also. Terry, you're first. Do you think we'll see another pit stop, or do you think we'll see another caution flag before the checker?
Oh, the caution's imminent. I mean, you see these drivers slipping and sliding. There's no way to avoid the inevitable. We're getting to that point at about 15 laps to where the drivers haven't been able to hold it. So I kind of feel like a lot more sliding is going to happen. And honestly, if I had to pick on who's going to be our next caution, the 46 is Sean Breitzman.
Breitzman, or I think the driver also of Mr. Ryan Bloom. They've both had problems. Justin, your spectrum of things on that thought from the back straightaway.
I won't predict someone who will bring out the caution, but I will predict that the way the caution comes out is either one of two ways. Someone blows the tire, or somebody tries to come to the pit lane, and we see the same thing we've seen for the first 2 cautions with Jeff Stabnow and Brian Bard. Somebody peels off, goes too early before the usual mark towards the apron, brings it up the racetrack, sparks the yellow flag that way. Right now, I think it's borderline, if not close on the fuel.
Okay. All right. Well, and with that has been your LSRTV CRN mid-race report. And we bring you back to on-track action as we have 50 laps to go, over 50 laps remaining. A little bit late on the mid-race report, but at least we got it in. And shootout time. It's Cooper, Newton going at it as they cross the line. 50 laps to go next time around here at Iowa, and it is now time to, if you will, Justin, make the run for the money.
Keep in mind, Cooper amongst those who is really struggling on the tires. He's losing half a second a lap at the moment. Struggling to rotate, has to lift hard. Lose a lot of ground off of 4.
Yeah, he's having a hard time keeping the tires out from under him. And this is one of those racetracks, guys, where you want to drive off the right rear. You don't really want to drive anywhere else because you need it to be loose as the run progresses.
Meanwhile, the Hornet's Nest building up. Down off of the corner, Paulson and Johnson zipping on by. 99 amongst those struggling to hold on to the grip for the time being.
Yeah, all of this grip, if you will, wondering when tires are going to get used up. Who's going to make a late race pit stop? It's something we ain't even thought about, Justin. They might be under green flag.
That will be a major trouble spot if the caution comes out during the cycle. Johnson inside of Paulson meanwhile. Paulson nearly to the wall yet again.
Oh, that was almost a big scare between the 7 and Paulson there. The 58 and 7 almost make contact, and the wall is not becoming your friend here as these seams start to get slippier and slippier as there's no grip up on the high side.
And those Goodyear Eagles starting to get very bold potentially, or more bolder. But there's the caution, the trouble as a car trying to pit. It's Lundberg this time.
Oh, Russ Lundberg this time. You called it perfectly, Justin. Trying to come in, making the arc from the diamond into the corner to the pit lane. And we didn't really even talk about, Terry, how difficult it is on the pit road entrance. Justin, you saw it break loose. Yellow flag number 3. Here's the replay on Russ Lundberg in the 129, buddy.
Already showing that he needs to pit or wants to pit very low in the straightaway. Right here, yet again, very early to duck down. Way too much speed. Trips it around, triggers the caution. Ends up avoiding contact at least this time, but gets him discombobulated and loses lots of time trying to gather himself around the circuit.
And Terry, I'm wondering, did he drive just below the apron, or was he committing to come down to pit road? I can't really tell from that replay, but one thing we do know now, everybody's coming in, and can you say money stop?
I wouldn't necessarily say money stop. I feel like we're going to see another yellow flag. We got 45 laps to go. The anticipation is going to build. I mean, you saw Cole Raz. He went from battling up behind Caden Anderson for the race lead. He was almost 7 seconds back once the caution came out. And Lake Peterson had overtaken him. I would expect if Lake Peterson gets up there to the back bumper of the 37, well, why not win 2 out of the first round and potentially keep yourself from having to, let yourself go to the next round with, more wins. You see, Peterson almost beats him off pit road.
The race off pit road. Anderson getting out first. Peterson gave him a fight, but he came up short. Oh, and by the way, it looks like Chris White is going to try to pull the trigger, if you will, and put himself back on the lead lap. All of this transpiring with over 40 laps to go. Jeff Stab now coming back onto the racetrack. Hey, we're going to come back on cams here because we got something special here. What is? Hey, you got a tire, and I was about to say, can we go to break? Because I need to take a sip of this. Of course, we don't want to plug who they are. Sorry.
We'll take a little tire break here because obviously with the guys who stayed out in the earlier portion of this race, you see the baldness right here coming in. There's nothing there. This would be the outer part of the tire that you see of the face, and obviously this would be the inner part here.
I love how he's holding the pin like a race analyst. Okay, look out,
right.
Brandon.
That's
McPacker.
right. We're race analysts here from the area over here in my man cave, which would be the tire. So as the race progresses, especially on iRacing, Justin Prince actually talked about you burning up the right front tire. So you're going to heat up more in this portion here. So you have the part there.
Is that a permanent
It's going to heat up. No. We will not permanent mark Jimmy Johnson's tire. And then the center of the tire, you have 3 different parts that's going to heat up on this tire. You got this part here, and then you got the middle, and then you have the inside of the tire. The more they continuously slide that tire in the corner, you're going to start heating this side up more because you're just grating it like this across the track. So that's why we're starting to see more drivers rush up the track, and then when they go to catch it, they try to turn the tire too quick, and it's snapping the back end around. So it's a quick motion of the tire, and then boom, back end kicks.
And that's been Terry's Tire Talk here with under 40 laps to go.
Tire 101,
boys. Terry's Tire Talk here in Iowa. Justin, are you recomposed over there, brother? Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Yes, I was wondering when that tire would come out eventually.
Yes. That's 2 times I've made Justin Prince laugh on a broadcast.
Yeah, the tire's definitely going to be a major talking for the rest of the way here because in a lot of the cases now.
I see a new segue coming, Justin, in our broadcast, Terry's Tire Talk.
Yeah. Here's the major thing I want to touch upon real quickly, though. Remember the strategy roll of the dice earlier from some of those who stayed out? Well, they just took the wave. Here's the thing. Some people, I think, might be out of tire sets here. But now, if there's another caution, remember the 2 who brought out the first 2 yellows tonight? Stabno and Barnes?
Yeah.
They might be on the upper hand here.
Wow. We'll keep an eye on that. It will be 41 laps to go when the field comes back to the Geico restart zone for the green flag, and that is about to happen right now. Pace car dips onto the pit lane, makes the hard left-hand turn. He ain't spun out yet as the field comes back to the Geico restart zone. Green flag in the air. Anderson over Peterson. Razzle duck inside. They go to the outside lane. Now they'll hug the bottom out of turn number 2. 40 to go. Justin into turn 2.
Peterson launches like a rocket to the inside of Anderson. Looks to rip away the lead. Anderson forced to the middle. Peterson to the yellow line. Peterson gets squashed. Anderson with the pick shot 4.
You can call him the Rocket Man right there because he got right off the exit of the corner, got a great launch. But Caden Anderson's not going to give this race up. He cuts down in front of Lane Peterson. They almost made contact into 1.
Anderson back to the point. Peterson looks to try and trade back. Looking hard. Peterson again to the bumper. All the way to the rear spoiler of the 37.
Yeah, I think Terry's Tire Talk has gone out the window. These drivers totally ignored it. It's go time. They're in stealth mode. They know it's for the win. Peterson up the outside. Anderson on the bottom for the lead at Iowa out of turn 2.
Peterson looks to try and give those eyes a little bit of a hoot forward. Peterson, now the second groove, gets the run off of 4.
Yeah, they don't give a crap about tires anymore, but that's go time. You have no other option than to get the track position now because if the caution comes out, you're there in it. As you see the battle going on right here, that's Breitzman, that's Newton. That's the battle for, I believe, 5th?
Yes, it is. Newton up to 5th now. Not fully done yet. Breitzman outside, pulls on firm. Looks to hold to the fender, Kent.
Solid run for Brian Reynolds, but also the 27 of Paul Newton, a guy that normally is one of the road course aces. He looks good tonight in Iowa, but he better hold off Sean Breitzman. They're coming after him out of 2.
I'll let everyone know he is Paul. He is on the prowl, looking for 4th underneath Reynolds. Reynolds shuffle to the 3rd line. Breitzman goes to the 3rd line and taking near 3.
Yeah, he took it there. He went all the way to the outside, and Breitzman made a very bold move a lap ago where he went from the bottom to the top really, really fast, and I thought he would lose control, but he didn't. It's a battle now between, here comes Smith.
Kevin Smith gets squashed up by Newton. Newton backs him up. Smith looks to charge him up. Charges it up around the outside behind the teal machine.
Is it just me, guys, or does it seem like since the last race start, they have turned up the wick at maximum overload? Racing, fierce, competitive, intense, all the way around Iowa, all over in the top 10 out of 2.
Breitzman looking to shine brightly through the diamonds and through the nighttime up to the 3rd line again. Wraps around Reynolds, says bye-bye.
Yeah, he hit that outside lane. It's like he put the little turbo nitrous on as he went around the outside of the 12. But you see Kevin Smith back here with Paul Newton. They're all wanting to fight for this position. And put the 36 of Ledbetter in there, too.
And better remember, the short run stars, Kevin Smith sees Newton go to his outside. Newton backs it up. Smith pulls up on Reynolds.
I thought Newton was going to try to stick it 3 wide. Will he? No, he will not. He'll play wingman for Smith, but Smith says, I'll have none of it. He'll go to the bottom and hook up there with Brian Reynolds. Ledbetter hung out to dry. Cooper on the bottom. Johnson coming. This heating up on the back straightaway.
Through the corner they go. Aaron Cooper sends it underneath Ledbetter. Just to back it down, showed too much charge.
Yeah, showed too much, but you see the battle behind him. It's going on. It's almost 3 wide there going into turn 1. No rest for the wicked, and Wesley, you're right. They turned this thing from 10 all the way up to 100 real quick.
Maybe it goes up to 500 at the rate we're going here tonight. Cooper trying to keep it to a minimal level. Diamonds it up. Looks to set up with Johnson on the prowl.
Sean Breitzman hung up on the outside lane. Kevin Smith now to the inside. He's looking for second spot, or actually for that position, third. All this going on out of turn number 2. By the way, Peterson's lead almost 1.5 seconds.
But it is going down. Keep in mind, Anderson is leading the Hornets' Nest, and everyone looking to strike. 30 to go.
Yeah, Caden Anderson, he turned it up, and Blake Peterson, he had to get the run. He had to get the track position. He took advantage of it. Now they come off the exit of 2. JP, whose race is going to win?
Tires, tires, tires. Get that Jimmy Johnson tire back, yo, because Anderson's thinking with that tire, and that tire is closing.
Yeah, pretty much closing in now is going to be Caden Anderson. Does he have enough time, though? Under 30 laps to go. There's the driver, the 37, the man that everybody thought could win at Iowa. Justin, we know how good he is here.
We've seen how good he's been throughout the night. Another 10 picked up last time by, bringing Cole Raz and Sean Breitzman with them. Breitzman using all his might to attack Raz now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Sean Breitzman actually make a run to potentially go up to P2. He's trying to fight Cole Raz for third as they go into 1. This Hornets test isn't calming down. This might be our next caution.
Car slow down the back straightaway. Jeff Stabnow slow on the apron. We stay green for now as Stabnow is rolling. 3 wide out of 4.
3 wide, as you just mentioned, Justin, trying to make that run. Newton, also Smith, Reynolds with a solid run. Now they go to the conga line, single file out of 2.
Conga. Wrightsman looking to send it on Raz now for third. Moves up to the second line to try and set it. Newton tries to set it on the bottom.
Yeah, Brian Barnes comes down pit lane from the 18th position. He'll go another lap down there. That would put Jeff Stabnow in the free pass position if anything was to happen, but they're catching Frank Harris. We go back to our conga line here.
Lap traffic moves to the bottom, moves over Frank Harris. Cole Raz nearly runs Harris over. Harris to the pit lane.
And car down below the bottom of the apron as we just watched that car. No harm, no foul yet. The field works back into turn number 1 and 2. 25 laps to go. 150 in as the leaders work off 2.
Johnson Monsters looking to get the giddy up for 10th spot. Ryan Bloom. Keep in mind, at a 3-second stop last time, a quick top off, he looks to top underneath the 7.
Yeah, he almost slid up into the quarter panel of that 7 machine. That's Brett Johnson, who's just right on the cusp of the top 10. But there's Chris White, man, who stayed out on old tires, went a lap down, got it back, and now he's fighting for a top 10.
Now that smile's starting to straighten out a little bit on the tubby machine to the inside. Ina shine bright like some sunshine on the bottom.
Bloom about tags the outside wall, stays up against the outside safer wall barrier, hugs with also Johnson. White down to the inside. Ritter's looking ready to pounce on those 3 cars out of 2.
Just to reset. Up to third meanwhile, Cole Raz. Looking to still use the bottom. Breitzman preferring the top still.
Yeah, Brightsman's still preferring the top. Don't look now. It's 0.3 of a second for your race lead, and Brightsman and Cole Raz are both catching in as well. It's a second back to third and fourth as they battle side by side here for fifth.
Brightsman starting to change the game plan a touch bit in 1 and 2, 3 and 4, not so much. Kevin Smith now underneath Noonan, forced to lift too hard on the send.
Win and you're in. Auto Club went to Cole Raz. Charlotte Roval went to Lake Peterson. Iowa right now coming up on 20 to go next time by. It is Peterson off 2.
Peterson's gap is closing though. Anderson has saved. Now his efforts coming to full fruition. 20 to go off of 4.
When they come across the line right here, we'll look at the lap times. It looks to be a 24.78 for the leader, a 24.75 for Anderson, 24.71 for Cole Raz. All these leaders running virtually the same lap time as they exit 2.
Anderson has a lot of time to get this done right. He's led 111 laps tonight. Can he find a way to choose the right time to say go to the front?
To the line, 19 laps to go. There is the leader, Peterson. Anderson has reeled him in, but also has Raz and Brightsman. All those cars with Kevin Smith and Paul Newton battling for 5th now. This works off at turn 2.
Anderson starting to put in his paces. Cole Raz losing ground, trying to play with Brightsman. Anderson using a lot more roll through the bottom.
Yeah, you see all these drivers trying to find more track to run on. These 18-inch wheels really allows you to kind of be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to the tires. You see the battle for third, the battle for the lead's heating up as well.
Anderson playing patient. Raz playing a little bit different. Brightsman up the top, loses ground, tries to use the afterburners off of 4.
Will Lake Peterson get the win? We're under 20 laps to go. We're also approaching the top of the hour. We'll pause for network identification on the Community Radio Network and take you to the finish of round 3 of the Northwest Playoffs from Iowa.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
17 laps to go. Lake Peterson is the leader, but for how long, Justin? The leaders are off 2.
That's the major question. The top 2 have broken away yet again. Brightsman not letting Raz break away his own way. Kevin Smith now inside, though, Brightsman off the corner.
Yeah, you see Smith right there, but it's 0.2 of a second. They actually matched lap times the lap before, but it was a 25.0 to a 24.9 for Lake Peterson and Caden Anderson. That lead is closed down to 0.2 of a second.
Starting to punch clocks amongst this pack right now. Up at the front, Peterson having the chip away effect come up behind him.
There is the driver of Peterson. Anderson has closed it to about 2 car lengths. Big stack up behind them. He needs to make a run quickly if Raz wants to get in this fight with Super Friends. Oh, Justin, lap traffic in the way on the back straightaway too.
That's Jeff Stab now through 3 and 4, choosing the top. Anderson might have that play to his advantage off the corner.
Oh, and he did, because he caught Peterson caught Stab now at the worst position possible right off the exit of 4. Peterson goes down to that yellow line. Peterson chooses a lane up, a half a groove. That puts fresh air on the front nose of the 37.
Anderson still not able to get alongside yet, though. Now Peterson struggling to rotate and get forward to the bottom. Anderson right there on the taking.
12 laps to go now. When the field crosses the line, you're still on board with Caden Anderson reeling in Lake Peterson. They tried to use Jeff Stab now as a pick. Couldn't make it happen. Now we got 2 different angles. On board with Anderson in the small box, and the battle on the big camera as they go to 3.
Peterson even higher up, though. Anderson tries to show a peak. Can't get there.
Trying to show the diamond effect there for Lake Peterson. I don't know how much longer that's going to work for him as it burns a little bit more of his tires off. Caden Anderson doing a great job rotating that bottom, painting that yellow line. As he gets a little fresh air, he gains closer. Half a car length separates him for the lead.
Anderson a little harder again. All over the rear end of the 9, coming to 10 laps to go. Anderson right there for the chance.
10 laps remaining. Now from the back of the lead car of Peterson. Anderson is all over him like a hot knife through butter. One move, one slip, he'll capitalize. And if he wins, he goes on to the playoffs in round of 8.
Number 3 and 4, Anderson waiting for the chance to get an arc. Having a backup from Peterson. Gets a wiggle from him.
Dang near taste the boneless wings at Hooters, says Caden Anderson as he gets onto the back bumper of that number 9 Camaro. It's a Chevy versus Chevy fight as they come to 9 laps to go, 8 when they cross the line.
Anderson showing the nose, sends it inside. Underneath the 9. Peterson gives the space. Anderson forced to lift, though, off the corner.
He might have gave room, but Peterson will not give it away that easily. Anderson has to back off. He's got to reset again and fire the weapon again to turn number 2. It is 8 laps to go. Time running out for him to win here at Iowa.
Nearly to the wall, Peterson. Peterson scrapes the wall into 3. Anderson takes advantage back inside. A roll from Anderson. Dead even off of 4.
Yeah, instead, even Anderson gets loose on the bottom. That's going to allow the 9 to get about a half a car length up on him there as they go into turn number 1. Peterson goes to the center. Anderson to the bottom. Anderson gets a good run. He's there, but close, but no cigar off of 2.
All sorts of slipping and sliding. Anderson forced to reset. Moves up to the second line. Peterson takes his clean line. Caution flag is out.
Caution!
It's Chris White.
Caution! Caution out. By the way, Chris White bringing out a yellow flag earlier in the night. And now the 47 with a problem. Justin, you saw it break loose. We might be looking at overtime here in Iowa.
Remember the note about the jerking the wheel and jerking the tire that was talked about by Terry Radford? Well, the tire message really came into play in 1 and 2. Chris White running on his own. Ends up running in the arc through the bumps, gets a little loose into apex, overcorrects it right into the wall, launches it around like a frisbee to bring out the yellow. The hardest hit of the day.
Hard slap into the outside, safer wall barrier for the W, number 47. Mind you, the defending Northwest Cup Series champion of last year. 6 laps to go. Terry, you said it. Do they pit? Or is it all about track position now with under 5 remaining?
I mean, this is a tough call. If you have a set, I'm taking it. I'm taking the set. You absolutely have to, because you think about it. If you're Lake Peterson and you stay out here on this racetrack and Caden Anderson, Cole Rash, Sean Brightsman pits, you're a sitting duck. You saw how quick it took for those drivers who stayed out on our first caution. How quick it took for them to get past. They didn't make it down the back straightaway without, really stacking up this field. This is a tough call, but if you got them, you might as well smoke them.
What are you thinking, JP?
Well, my concern is, does anyone have a set left on the lead lap? I don't think there is anyone that's in that case. The one person who needed a caution and not be them just crashed. So in other words, I think at this point everyone's staying out here for a reason. They just can't afford the sets. And now your bed's been made, essentially.
Yeah.
I think it's down to Peterson and Anderson for the win.
Yeah, I agree, Justin. I really think that if you're in the top 5, top 10, your bed is lied here. If you pit, you don't have enough laps to make up to try to come back through the field. And the only guy that might have had a shot to change tires has crashed out. And pretty much he probably is going to be done for. So if I'm Peterson, if I'm Anderson, you're going to play possum on the pack. You're going to stay in that position. Raz is going to try to clean off his tires. You see him bobbing and weaving left and right now. And I don't know. Can we get going before the end of going to the first overtime? I guess, could we see a 2-lap shootout, Terry, before the green? Coming to the line now. It'll be 3 laps to go, lap number 172. And I don't know if we could get a natural green-white checker shootout before an overtime attempt.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. The caution fell at the most unopportunistic time, but I go back and I look at a driver who's sitting in 16th, and this might be a long shot here, but I believe Frank Harris took tires. if he had to sit in there, he was on pit lane in the pit box for 29 seconds. So he might have did some damage repair, but if he put a set of tires on, we'll know pretty fast, because he's going to go around the outside on a lot of these drivers without ever really having to burp it. But we're probably going to go into an overtime.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's going to happen, because if they come to the line now, we're at 3 laps to go. If they take if the caution and the pace car goes off with the lights right now, it would be 2 laps remaining. Pace car comes in, it'll be a 1-lap shootout. 1 lap to the checker flag. And wow, this might happen. We might see this transition happen. It might be a 1-lap shootout, Justin. We're still in the regular race distance. They are going to give the field 1 to go. 2, oh, nope. Oh, they went back to green-white checker. They stumped me. I thought we were going to get a 1-lap shootout, but that's not the case.
So this will count as an attempt for a green-white checker. Remember, let's take the white flag for this race to be official, so to speak, to be able to close it out. A caution within the 1 lap. Do it one more time and reset the field. We got a caution before the white flag on the second attempt. The race will end under yellow.
That's right. 2 attempts will be made. If the yellow flag falls before they take the white, we'll re-rack them, restack them again. Second attempt, caution before the white. Then the field is frozen at time of yellow. The field will be determined at finishing order, and we will have a winner. Or they take the white flag, the CRN 1 to go. Race is official. Coming to the line, Lake Peterson with probably the best restart he's ever had all night. He'll come to the line with 2 to go over Anderson. That goes happening 2 now. If you want to go, you better go now. And what a jump by Peterson on the jump there, Justin.
Peterson, a near perfect start. Anderson running out of chances, running out of time. Can't close the gap. Peterson looking to go full steam out of 4.
Yeah, white flag's going to be in the air. The CRN 1 to go here as Lake Peterson takes the white flag, and Caden Anderson looks to have nothing for him, as it's a 4.5 car length lead as he washes up at a 2.
Peterson loses his gap. Anderson looks for 1 launch. Goes to the bumper. Trying to get to it. Can't get there as they rumble out of 4.
Here they come to the line. Peterson will throw the block on Anderson. Anderson bonsais as Cole Rask goes spinning down below the apron out of turn 4 to the start-finish line. He wanted the Roval at Charlotte. He'll go back-to-back. He will hold off Caden Anderson. Lake Peterson will win, pick up his 11th win this year. The dominator of the Northwest. Caden Anderson could not get him, even though he slipped. And it's going to be Lake Peterson to pick up the win for, again, his 11th time this year and his 2nd back-to-back in the playoffs.
Well, I know where I'm going to lunch tomorrow. I'm going to Hooters. We'll celebrate Lake Peterson's win at one of the best wing joints around. I should go put my Chase Elliott Hooters shirt on, or my hat for him.
Well, you got plenty of time before we go to post-race on camera.
I don't think my wife would be too happy if I walk in the bedroom.
We had Terry's Tire Talk. Now we've got Chicken Wing Talk with Terry.
Oh, I love Hooters chicken wings.
That last slip, you think, as we get ready for the Northwest high five salute as Ottenbacher gives a slam to Lake Peterson. That one little slip by Peterson, that could have really changed the game, but I don't think Caden Anderson had enough.
You need 1 more lap to get the job done, I think, and you just ran out of time, essentially. That slip absolutely gave him a huge chance. But if that happens on a 3-lap shootout, we're talking about a different type of race.
So as they continue to wad them up in our Northwest version of the post-race Demolition Derby, Lake Peterson is the winner. Caden Anderson will finish 2nd here tonight at Iowa. Of course, he wanted to win this race. He thought he could win it. Sean Breitzman will finish in 3rd. Cole Raz and Kevin Smith, the top 5. We had 26 drivers take the green, so we'll do 7, 7, 7, or excuse me, 8, 8, and 8. So let's go with now Brian Reynolds 6th, Jaden Ledbetter a solid 7th. Paul Newton will finish in the number 8 position. Toby Ritters will finish 9th.
You got Aaron Cooper down there rounding out your top 10. You go back here to the 11th place position with Brett Johnson, Steven Paulison, John Ottenbacher, Ray Foreigner, Frank Karras, Ryan Bloom, and Dan West Jr. rounds out your top 17.
Ryan Barnes finishes 18th tonight with Jeff Stab now in the 19th spot. Lundberg rounds out your top 20. 21st goes to Chris White after bringing up the final caution of the race. Malik, first driver, several laps down after early troubles. Troy Daggett also had some early troubles and parked it, finishing 23rd. Chris Camary 24th. Robert Gambill parked it very early. We've seen him in the mid-pack at one point. 25th is where he ends. And Carl Burke exited very early, 160 down.
And that has been the Majors Garage post-race results. Of course, Majors Garage in the Major Series on Sunday night. Of course, we had the great race at Martinsville in the Virginia is for M300 last night. And, of course, the next event will be on October the 23rd with the Audi cars. Road course racing at Daytona. Homestead, the finale in November, and the Major Series for more information. When we come back, finish line post-race wrap-up. We're back on camera. Terry might go put on his new clothes, pull out a tire. You never know what you're going to get. This is iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network as Lake Peterson pulls the sweep now, 2 in a row from the Roval to Iowa, and, of course, continues to pick up the winningest driver this year of Northwest competition, regular season, and in the playoffs. It's time for the finish line post-race wrap-up here tonight at the Iowa Speedway, round number 3 of the round of 12 playoffs. And one thing for certain, Kentucky is going to be wild going into next Monday night. Of course, the trucks will be here on Thursday. Wesley Outland, Terry Radford, Justin Prince, awesome job at the corners. And we get ready now to grab a word with the drivers on the podium. 2020 Cup Series champion. Problems earlier in the race. He'll finish up 8 spots to the 3rd position. Of course, originally out of Puyallup, Washington, now from the land of Cactus, Tucson, Arizona. Sean Brightsman, what's your take of this race tonight, bud?
What a fun race. Lots of green flag laps. Super happy for the Lake Peterson, Caden Anderson, all of them guys running up front forever. I needed the long run. The long run's what I needed there to finish out the race and hopefully grab second or from Breyer, I think, at the time, or third. But what a fun run.
Yeah, Sean, you obviously come home with a good position here this afternoon. And what did you need there towards the end to put yourself in a position to maybe run down the leaders? I saw you make contact with Cole Raz there at the end. Incidental, maybe?
Yeah, I got a little loose there off the top there, and kind of moved down into Cole as he was coming up to out of the low side. So we made contact, incidental. At least for me, it wasn't intentional by any means. But I don't really know. I didn't practice the short run all that much. I really was hoping for long runs, and every time that long run was there, it kind of caution got interrupted with it. So just had the right strategy tonight. Pitting whenever those cautions came out, the tires were super important on the Brights Boutique Toyota Camry. So very important.
Seemed like that type of night, absolutely. But now, of course, after the wild night, much needed for some of the points to be able to secure things forward heading into the final race of the round. How do you try and approach things now in turn? Or rather, what will that approach be, knowing what's been going on in this round and knowing how difficult Kentucky will be next?
I think you're just going to get a slugfest again, just similar to tonight. I mean, tonight was green flag, and hopefully up front there was a lot of battles. I know looks like Caden led a bunch of laps, but I know where I was at, there was a bunch of battles back and forth. So I think we're sitting okay in points, but you know, if we have a bad night and everybody else has a good night, then we might be looking on the outside in. So. Really just got to execute, take it one lap at a time, be smart, and make sure we're there for a top 5, top 10, and hopefully that'll be enough or even a win next week. So,
John Breitzman, final question. Segue this into your sponsors. You've moved up one spot into the playoffs now to stay into the round of 8. You're in 7th. What's it going to take to hold on to that spot to advance after Kentucky next Monday?
I mean, the easiest one is definitely a win to put the Brights Boutique Toyota Camry in victory lane. That's the easiest one. But again, it's just being consistent, right? Putting the time in, running practice laps, running runs to figure out what your car is going to do in the long run. Really just putting in the time, and then staying out of trouble. I mean, there was a handful of times where I could have spun out and, you know, been in the back. So thankfully, stayed out of trouble and was able to secure a great finish tonight.
Sean Breitzman will be the number 7 seed moving into the finale of the round of 12 playoffs at Kentucky next week. Tonight, he finishes 3rd at Iowa. We go now to the runner-up of the race. The driver, of course, out of Yakima, Washington, was going to be the favorite to win the race. I know you wanted to win this race, Caden Anderson. However, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. You are now in the number 3 seed, up spot 1 from 4th when you took the green tonight at Iowa. Are you happy with 2nd, and will this at least give you enough of a points opportunity to advance to the round of 8?
Honestly, I'm pretty frustrated. We led a lot of laps tonight and felt like we probably had the best strategy and best car, and we did everything perfect there, and running with 5 to go, you know, we're racing for the lead, and caution comes out for someone that didn't even run in the top 10 all race. So pretty frustrating to lead so many laps and then get juked one spot because of a caution, but I guess that's the theme of the year all year. Yeah, we're set up pretty good for points wise. Just gotta go next week and finish decent, and hope we don't get crashed out or nothing, because one crash can ruin the race and championship points the entire year. So yeah.
Well, how do you manage that? You talked about you had the most dominant car of the evening, and obviously a late race incident cost you from being able to take advantage. You were on the back bumper of Blake Peterson, and what do you have to do going into Kentucky? Do you just sit there and manage, or do you go for it full steam ahead like you did tonight?
I'm not going to do nothing different than what I've done all year. We come out here to win, and so if we end up wrecking, you know, racing for the win, that's what it is. But I don't know. I can't sit there and finish, you know, 5th and be happy with myself. If I'm not at least trying my best for a win, then I don't know what I'm doing out here. So, yeah, that's the plan. I'm just going to go out there and try to win.
Well, Kentucky is up next. How would you describe your confidence levels when it comes to racing a track like Kentucky, which, of course, has the intriguing difference of 1 and 2 compared to 3 and 4, similar to the vein of Texas?
Yeah, Kentucky's going to be hard. It's going to be one of those tracks where track position is key. You're going to have to be up front, and I feel like these cup cars, it's important anywhere you go. I mean, even tonight, Lake got out front, and I started catching them, and as soon as I started catching them, I got a little bit tight. But yeah, I think going into Kentucky is just going to be track position, whoever can stay out front, and whoever has the best strategy for cautions coming out late is going to be the one that's going to probably have the best shot at winning.
Hayden, before we let you go, buddy, I want you to thank your sponsors, but I understand that frustration it seems like you have. I know you're looking for a championship, but it also seems like you want to win.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably been 3 or 4 other races this year. I think we probably could have won and cautions or some sort of freak accident happens and we ended up losing it. But no, overall, we've had a great season, and 4 wins you can't hang your head up on, you know. But yeah, want to thank Harvest Chevrolet, PTI Transportation, Takedown Tackle, Studio 10 Wraps, and Elevate Racing Media.
He'll finish in the number 2 spot in the playoffs. He was in position 4 coming into tonight's race at Iowa. He bumps up 1 position higher to number 3. The driver out of Yakima, Washington, Caden Anderson. And to victory lane we go for the man of the Hooters, number 9 Chevrolet, with his 11th win this year. 2 in the playoffs to go with his 19 races, 7 poles, 14 top 5s, and 18 top 10s. And if that wasn't enough, he is at the number 1 seed after the Roval and tonight at Iowa. Blake Peterson, momentum going your way towards a championship. Obviously, your take of tonight's race and holding off Anderson and everybody at bay to pick up your win, 2nd in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely wild finish there. Caden definitely had our number early in the race, and I was trying to, I don't know, just learn the track, figure this stuff out. And then I finally got back into a position there towards the end where I was restarting in 2nd place. I didn't get a very good restart. However, I did get a good run off the corner. And I tried to Caden on the bottom, and it just was not going to happen. The top was my only hope. And so I don't know how many laps it was after, but I've done it and prayed, and it stuck. And I was able to get on his outside there and managed to lead from there. I was really trying to build a gap there in the beginning because I hadn't led much of the race. I wasn't sure how much different the car would drive, so I was trying to manage a gap or build a gap there in the beginning in case I did make any mistakes. Caden would be able to capitalize on it and then try and save tires while he was catching up to me. As I got down to the end there, he definitely had the superior strategy there with how he had saved his tires to make one last run for the win. Fortunately, the caution came out for me, but unfortunately, I was having a lot of fun racing side by side with him. I know he had a big run coming off the top there before the caution came out, so I know we are going to be side by side going to that next corner, and probably would have been to the finish. If not, he would have cleared me. But yeah, I was looking forward to that finish, but I'm never going to complain about getting a win either. So it's not how I wanted to finish, but very happy with the end result.
Well, and Lake, what a year you've had so far. Obviously started off with a big win of the Podium 500, and then you come over here into the Northwest Cup Series, and you've put on a show. He read your stats. They're phenomenal. I mean, they're some of the most impressive stats I've heard calling a league in some time. You're looking to win the championship here, and you look to be the favorite to do it. Obviously, you've got a very, very strong competition right behind you with Caden Anderson, but mindset going into these final couple races, where do you put yourself going into Kentucky and then the weeks following that to maybe clinch this up before you get to the season finale?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Kentucky because ever since this update to the car a couple months ago, after they kind of got the handling to be more predictable, I've really struggled with saving tires. So I'm really going to focus on saving my tires when we go to Kentucky for that 1.5-mile type track, because I know that's kind of where we'll be headed for Homestead for our league finale. So that's something I'm really going to focus in on. It certainly helps that We got a ton of momentum for the start of this playoffs. 2 wins in the first round is definitely something to be proud of. But as you said, I have really tough competition behind me. And Caden mentioned just 1 or 2 things go right, and he wins 3 or 4 more races, and that's 3 or 4 races taken away from me. And same for Cole and Dan and Sean and all those other people that have been up there racing for wins this year. So you really can't get too comfortable because everyone is going to be racing at 100% and doing their best to win. Like Caden said, no one likes coming in second, so we're all here for the same thing.
Said a lot there, of course, about happiness involving Kentucky coming up, of course, but of course, though, the tough thing's going to be the rest of the schedule on top of things. We know you're already up into that chase 8. That's already going to be a major thought process. The balancing act of the pressure, though, what do you think that could be like now for these closing stages of the season, knowing, as talked about, you're the favorite heading towards Homestead in November?
Yeah, I think this round I can probably end pretty comfortably as we go into the next round of 8. Thankfully, I do have my best track to lay back on in Dover, but we also race at Talladega, so nothing's guaranteed. With that being said, I mean, I'll kind of enjoy this next week and have fun at Kentucky, but then it'll be back down to business when we get the round of 8 started in Las Vegas.
Yeah, before we let you go, thank your sponsors, Lake Peterson. I really don't think there's anything left to ask or say. You're number 1, and you're carrying all the momentum, it looks like, for the Northwest Cup Series.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no more road courses, but I'll have to figure out. I'll have to figure out how to win somewhere else then, I guess. But yeah, I want to thank everyone at SFE and KAR. Have made really good friends through this service, and it truly is a blessing to be in a league like this where it's so organized. You can get together every week and have some competitive races, and it's just something to really look forward to. So I appreciate everything our admins do. I want to thank Liam Brotherton of Phoenix Designs for making my paint schemes. I know he has a Coke race tomorrow, so good luck to him. And LSRTV for your awesome broadcasts. What you do for the community is something I truly appreciate, and I think a lot of us appreciate the spotlight that you put us in. So grateful for that, and what you guys are doing.
Lake Peterson out of Corvallis, Oregon, picks up his 11th win this season, 2 in the playoffs. Oh, and mind you, back-to-back from the Roval and tonight at Iowa. And that has been your Finish Line post-race wrap-up, but we're not done yet. We get final analysis, a look at the top 12 moving in to the final race to determine the round of 8 at Kentucky when we return from Iowa.
Your CRN, my CRN, our CRN. We are CRN. The Community Radio Network now and the new WCRN 87.9 FM. And still always anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN. Welcome to the Community Radio Network. Follow us always via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to the new CRN 87.9 and still anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey,
it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments, and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. Welcome back. And we have changed our clothes somehow, some way, as you can see. You changed your shirt, and I got my shirt changed just in time as well. What are you sporting there? I'm sporting my Fox Sports Radio Finish Line apparel. What are you wearing there, Terry? You're supporting Hooters, right? Lake Peterson.
I'm a Chase Elliott fan, and it just so happens we got this at Darlington, and Hooters car wins. You know, if you wear a Chase Elliott shirt, a Hooters shirt to Hooters, they actually give you 10% off your order. So,
wow.
big win for Hooters down here in the GA. I'm in the Peach Day, baby, in the A.
Now, Justin, did you change your clothes, or are you still wearing your traditional shirt from earlier? Is it?
I didn't get the chance to change my shirt, no, but this is getting intriguing. Goodness.
Hey, so let's recap here. So, sheer domination, obviously, we could say this season by Lake Peterson. Obviously, the road course king. But when it counts here tonight in the playoffs, mostly, Justin, I'll let you lead first. Terry, I'll get your thoughts here in a moment. As he has pretty much been following all of the Cup races this year. Justin, Lake Peterson, can anybody stop this guy? The one guy we thought that could stop him was Caden Anderson. He got stopped dead in his tracks at a track that we thought he was going to easily win out tonight.
I think it's going to be essentially difficult to stop Lake Peterson the rest of the way because, to be quite frank, he's been the king of the long run for almost every single track. Yes, Anderson had the upper hand for parts of this race tonight. Or majority of the race, in fact. But the thing is, when it comes to Lake Peterson, he has been near impossible to stop. He's led much of the season in much of the races. He's led laps in just about every race this season, in fact. It's hard to beat a driver who has an average finish inside the top 5 and who has led, basically in terms of the completed laps when you look at things, about a third of the season. He is near unstoppable.
What do you think of Terry Radford after what you witnessed in your first Cup race tonight in the broadcast booth with us?
Well, I mean, I've watched this series to carry on into the truck race to kind of see what the track similarities are going to be, how the drivers are going to race one another. Lake Peterson's drive this season kind of reminds me of Jimmy Johnson back in the early portions of his championship runs when he went on that string of 5, because he kind of just like started with a little bit of momentum and then he just carried it and he rolled it into the rest of the season. Very good on the road courses, but Iowa, we both said this. When qualifying wrapped up, we both looked at each other and said, there's no way Caden Anderson loses this race. But somehow, some way, Lake Peterson finds the speed in the last restart, or the second to last restart of the race, to go to the outside to make that move happen at a turn that we didn't see very much pass it on the outside. JP called it the whole time out of 2. Nobody jumped out there and really power moved it, but he did it. And now we talked about going to Homestead, going to Kentucky, going to these places that have a lot of speed. Lake Peterson, I would say you just put the stamp on him, give him the championship.
Well, I wouldn't say all of that just yet, but I will say, Justin, that I think next Monday night it is desperation for a lot of drivers that are either looking for a win or drivers that are on the outside looking in. Jeff Stabnow climbs through the ashes, goes to the number 8 spot after what was kind of a dismal race for him tonight. He falls back 1 spot, but he's still in this top 8. But for Kevin Smith, Aaron Cooper, defending champion Christopher White, and Kenneth Garber, you've got one more shot to make a run to the top 8, to the round of 8, or your night is done for a championship, and that is next Monday at Kentucky.
Yeah, I think for Kevin Smith in particular, he's got the best shot to try and place blower if you're Jeff Stabnell's case, because I think, if anything, Kevin Smith's been the better driver all season. He's just had some rough times in this part of the playoff so far. Stabnell is lucky to be holding on to his position, in my opinion, with how things are playing out. It's going to be tough for the rest of the air drivers that are outside that picture to break through unless they get a win the way things are shaping out this year.
Terry Radford.
Yeah, you're going to have to bring your best stuff to Kentucky if you're Stabnell, if you're White, if you're one of those drivers on the outside looking in. You can't leave anything on the table. A 10th could be the difference of finishing outside that playoff cut or finishing up in the top 5 and potentially rounding your way to the next round of these playoffs. Practice is going to be at a premium when we get next Monday night.
Justin, it looks like you've got a lot to do on your to-do list of tablets behind you, all them little sticky notes, man. What does that entail for the rest of the week for you, brother?
Lots of broadcasts, lots of different work to do, but many of these drivers get right back to work, to say the very least.
And that's why I like the green screen, because while they're in their man cave, look at what I got right here, okay? Look at this. I unveil myself to y'all. I'm up against the wall.
I hope that
Nobody
doesn't
puts
fall
Wesley
again.
in the corner. I hope it doesn't fall again, right? Oh, fun times. Thank you, Justin Prince. Thank you, Terry Radford. One more look at Iowa. I am Wesley Outland. Your winners tonight, Lake Peterson, his 11th win of the year. And, of course, this is going to be a fun battle going in to Kentucky next week. The playoffs, you never know what's going to happen, as always. The trucks are in action on Thursday night. We've got you covered, as always, on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network for iRacing. For Jeff Stabnell, Charles Wooten, everybody at Rocket Media, and for the iRacing on LSRTV coverage and on CRN. For Justin Prince in the corners tonight at Iowa, and for Terry Radford in the booth alongside, I'm Wesley Outland. God bless you all. Congratulations again to Lake Peterson, his 11th win of the year, 2 back-to-back in the playoffs, and he carries all the momentum in the final race in the round of 12 next Monday night at Kentucky. Enjoy the rest of your week. If